a girl casually touched her head, unaware that at the same time, a giant monster in distant Korea also touched its head. At first, the girl thought it was just a coincidence, but when she checked the Seoul website and watched a video, she noticed that the monster's movements exactly mirrored hers. To confirm her suspicions, Annie rushed to the park and made a hand gesture, then went back home to watch the Korean monster's behavior on TV. The result confirmed it. The monster was mimicking her every move. To further verify this, Annie brought a few friends to the park, made them sit on a bench, and asked them to watch the monster's movements on the Seoul website. As soon as Annie started dancing in the park, the Korean monster began dancing in a weird way too. It seemed as if the monster was Annie, and Annie was the monster. Not only that, but her friends also noticed a strange physical connection. When the monster in Korea was hit by a missile, Annie suddenly felt a sharp pain in her waist and instinctively started doing Chinese kung fu. Consequently, the Korean monster did the same and even destroyed a helicopter. Just as her friends were amazed, Annie tripped over her own feet and fell to the ground in the park. At that very moment, several tall buildings in Seoul collapsed into rubble, killing hundreds of people. To avoid further panic in the Korean public, Annie returned to the park and intended to apologize. She pointed to the ground, motioned the people below to move away, ensured the area beneath her was safe, and slowly knelt down, writing, "I'm sorry" on the ground and promising never to return, so people wouldn't be afraid anymore. The citizens responded with a thumbs up in appreciation. Annie kept her promise and never went back to that park. She thought the danger had passed, but one morning when she woke up, she saw a massive robot rampaging through the streets of Korea. Sensing the seriousness of the situation, Annie rushed to the park, where she found herself kicking around wildly. Apparently, the robot was actually her friend. Annie immediately told him to leave, but he was too caught up in the fun of the game and challenged her to a duel. Annie pointed to the side, and the Korean monster mimicked the exact same gesture. She warned her friend to leave the park immediately, but he didn't listen. Furious, Annie slapped him, and the monster in Korea did the same. People admired the monster's bravery, even creating emojis of it and sharing them in videos. But this incident left Oscar, the friend, feeling humiliated. To reclaim his lost honor, Oscar called Annie the next morning and challenged her to a duel. Annie accepted, but she was no match for Oscar and was quickly knocked to the ground, unable to move. Oscar started stomping on her as she watched helplessly. Realizing that if Oscar wasn't stopped, all of Korea might soon be destroyed, Annie came up with a daring plan. She immediately bought a plane ticket and flew to Korea. At that time, Oscar was still messing around in the park, unaware that danger was approaching. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble. Before Oscar could understand what was happening, the Korean monster appeared before him. Annie had used a technique in Korea to teleport the monster to the US. Terrified, Oscar tried to run, but Annie, through the monster, caught him. Even near death, Oscar refused to surrender and started cursing Annie. Enraged, Annie hurled him far away. As Oscar vanished into the sky, this bizarre episode finally came to an end.